ned+harper. Ned is with SBDC, and Ned is also the presenter this evening.
The reason for the green forms is we're funded by the SBA, Small Business Administration, and they like to report. They like to know when they invest money that something actually happened. So they like to know that we actually did do a seminar and real people were here and that they're representative of our community. We're not just serving one group and leaving others out. That's the reason for the paperwork and the forms. Now, why do you think the federal government would like to see you be successful in business?
Taxes.
What?
Taxes.
Taxes. And that's one thing that you have to be really good at in business. You need to know what's in it for them. Whoever you're dealing with, whoever your partners are, your associates, your customers, vendors, you have to understand what's in it for them. Why are they doing what they're doing related to you? The better you understand that, the better relationships you're going to have and the more successful you're going to be. Now, Daytona State College is also a sponsor of this program. Why do you think the college would like to see you be successful in business?
We get more donations.
How are they graduates? What's the point of going to school and getting a degree if you can't get a job? So if we don't have a viable community here where there's thriving jobs and they're hiring people and the people have to have certain skills, then there's no reason for a college because they're not going to go there to learn how to work in their places. So that's why the college is. But the bottom line that I want you to be thinking about is the purpose of this tonight is to serve you. It's not about me and it's not about Bill. He travels all over the world. He's retired, semi-retired. I'm just enjoying life. I started 7 businesses from scratch, grew them to be pretty big, really enjoyed doing it. Got to a point in my age where I didn't want to risk everything I owned every day. And that's what happens when you own a business. You don't know what might happen, regulations, the environment, things could change, and you could be put out of business. So sometimes you get to a certain age where you don't want to take those risks. But there's ways to kind of control that. And that's what I do here. I get to get involved in businesses, but I'm not investing in my money. So, a little housekeeping. If you've got phones, hey, if you're in business, you're thinking about doing business, feel free to get up, take care of a client, do whatever you need to do. If your phone rings, just don't let it disturb the others. We have restrooms right outside. Feel free to get up and go as you please. I'm not going to do any breaks. It's going to be hard for me to cover this in 2 hours. We're going to cover a lot of information. We're going to go fast. I'm open for questions, but we have to make sure that I cover everything that I feel you need to know. Okay, what we're going to do today, we're going to talk about who you need to know. If you're not connected with certain people, you will not be as successful as you can be. We're going to talk about reality theory. Is business right for you? Is this a real good idea? No, talk about your idea. Business structures. You want to be a S corporation, LLC, sole proprietorship? That's always a big question. Finance. Many people in business do not understand basic financial concepts. And you're going to hear something tonight that most businesses don't get. And I know they don't get it because they come to me and they say, I'm having trouble. I can't decide when to hire another person or not. And if they understood this, they'd know when to hire another person. They wouldn't have a question. Business planning, financing, and then we'll go into question and answer. So I'm going to try and move fast, but I want to relate to you. It doesn't do me any good to say things that you don't understand. It's wasting both of our time. So if there's any issue or whatever, then let's talk about it. You need to be connected with 5 important people, and I'm going to mention the 6th one too. By the way, you do get these slides if you got your address. So you get all of these and you don't have to write all these words down. I make it easier for you. Unless you're one of those ones that learns when you write auditory visual. A lot of small businesses don't want to deal with professionals because it's expensive, right? It's going to cost too much money. I'm not going to use that. And all the time I've been in business, I have made more money using these people than it cost me. Because they know how to do things that I don't know. And if I make that mistake because I didn't get good advice or I didn't have the right knowledge, then it will cost me money. Not knowing something can cost you money. So you should have a relationship with an attorney, an accountant, a banker, an insurance agent, a counselor, a mentor, people like Bill and myself that have been in business, that have made mistakes. We've learned the hard way. Why should you have to pay the same price? We can say, don't do that. Here's what happens. And you can avoid it, and you don't have to. You can make your own mistakes, then come teach us, and we'll teach others. The next I'd like to add here is a technologist. Technology has become so important in business today that if you're not using technology, you're probably doing things inefficient, and it's probably costing you more to do it. And then you want to charge more, and then your customers don't like it, and they want to buy from someone else, and you don't understand how that guy can do it cheaper than it's costing you, and it's very confusing for everybody. So your inefficiency is no excuse to charge people more money. You need to be as good as you can and get technology and get other things to work for you. I'll give you an example of that. I had a client that had a exercise spa. And in the exercise spa, typically what they do is people come in and they register for a class. So they have a receptionist there, or they call in, it's taking me and getting them signed up because only so many people can be in the class. So that person put it online. So if you wanted to go to that class, you had to go to that site, put in your information, pay right there, eliminated the need for someone at the receptionist desk. So there was a cost, $20,000, $30,000 a year, that wasn't necessary in that business to provide what people wanted. They really just wanted to go to the exercise class, not talk to a receptionist. An attorney, insurance agent, accountant. How do you know which one to get? Well, number one, get someone that specializes in business. You don't want a divorce attorney advising you on how to do things in your company. You want a commercial business attorney, someone that works with businesses day in and day out. And if you can, get one that has worked with someone in your industry. So if you're going in the restaurant industry, you might go in the restaurant and say, hey, what attorney do you use? Go to another one. Who do you use? Who do you use? You start hearing the same name come out. Well, this guy does a lot of work with restaurants. He's going to know a lot of things legally that restaurants need to know. When you ask them to do stuff, it's going to cost you less money for him to right off the top of his head say, oh, you just do this, 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 this. Then it will be for someone else that has to research it. Next, see if it's someone that you can relate to. Some of them might not want to work with you that much. They may like to work with companies that are $20 million or more. So they're not really that interested. You can tell by the way they treat you. If they're not acting interested, giving you information, working with you well, then they use words you don't understand and things like that, you don't want to deal with them. You need to deal with someone that you can relate to, that you can talk to. So I'm doing it fast and not talking about each one, but you can get that. Last thing I'll do is I'll say shop. You shop for your cars, don't you? You shop for your clothes, you shop for your groceries, shop for your professionals. Don't just go to the bank because it's the bank you've been dealing with personally and assume that they're going to give you the best banking services that you can get for a business. Go to them and say, what are you going to do about a credit line? Do you have a credit card? How much do you charge for a bank account? You know, how can I do banking online? Do you do payroll services? What do you do for me? Shop. I usually do 3. By the time I've shopped 3 businesses, I've got a good idea of what's going on. First person tell me one thing and I don't know anything else but what they told me. I go to the next one, they tell me some different things. I ask them about that. I go back and forth, ask them what they think of these others, and oh, their strength is this, our strength is this. By the time I get to 3rd, I got a good idea what's going on. I got a good idea what insurance I can afford. I maybe need this much insurance, but I maybe only able to afford this much insurance right now. But the good insurance agencies will tell me the higher risk and where I need to put my money right now. I should have all of this, but I definitely better have this right here. So that's the people that you need to have a relationship with. We good there? Okay, why are you going into business? What are your goals? Very important, you know, to understand what you're doing and why you're doing it, to make sure that it relates to you into the future. So you need to think about how it affects other things. For example, your family. Family can be very important. If you have a disconnect with your business activity, with your business goals, and your family activities and your family goals, you're going to have problems. And I used to love it when my competitors went through a divorce, because I knew they were going to be distracted, and they weren't going to be spending time competing with me. So make sure that you're aligned with your family. If your family expects you home at 5 o'clock every night, don't open up a restaurant. That's obviously not going to work, right? Hey, Tony. So make sure that it works with your family, that it's connected. If you're going to travel a lot, maybe you have young kids or something that may not work for your family. So stay in tune with that, because it's an important strength probably for you. Activities. Does this owning a business relate to what you like to do and what you typically do? The worst clients I work with are, what are you saying? Anybody here a surfer? It's surfers. Whenever the waves are great, they're not available. The customers are calling them, and oh yeah, I was overdoing something, but it doesn't take long for they were overdoing whatever for them not to want to use them anymore. So if it's not going to relate to your activities, if you have activities where you can't be reliable, then you don't want a business where people have to rely on you. There are some businesses that you do things in the computer, and you can be off surfing, and it's working. They're getting taken care of, they're getting served, everybody's happy. So you have to make sure that they're aligned. You have to decide, is this going to be a hobby or a business? I have worked with people that in business, they lose $50,000 a year. They're okay with that because they like doing it. They like having their shop. Their friends can come in, they've got their card, they can talk about their business and what they're doing and all that, and they're happy. Customers are happy, everybody's happy, that's fine. But if you need it for income, if you need this business to help you pay bills, you're not independently wealthy, or you don't have a revenue stream somewhere else, then you need to make sure that it meets basic business principles. You can't just do stuff and hope that it'll get better. You can't do lost leaders to get people in the door and then never change that. So you're going to have to decide, and this is up to you. It's your business. You can do it however you want to. You can meet with Bill, you can meet with me, we can talk about business. Again, we just give you our opinion. It's your business. However you want to run it, fine with us, because it's not our money. Income now or no later. This has been a big one to hurt a lot of businesses, especially in this last recession that we just had. You see a lot of immature people get into business and they start making money, and they buy a truck, and they buy a boat, and they're taking these trips, and they're big rings, and all this stuff's going on because they got money flowing in. The economy turns, well, guess how much you can sell that truck for now? That boat for, those rings, not much. One business that I started, I had 70% of the market. 20 other companies shared 30% of the market. The way I got 70% of the market is every time I made money, I reinvested it in the business to make it better and more competitive. I added locations, I added product lines, I added drive-through windows, I added things that were new, leading edge, that people had never seen before, but it made them hard to compete with me. You know, and I got such volume and economy of scale that now I could do stuff so much cheaper than them that it really made it very difficult for them. Think about this, build up reserves, invest in your business, and then when it's spinning off so much money that you don't want more locations, you don't want more product lines, you don't want more business, you're happy with the way things are going, and you set aside a reserve, then you can move into, let's start spending that money out, and let's start using it for different reasons. Last is business concept. Is this concept, the business you're going in, right for you? Like I said, everybody has special characteristics that can make them valuable to others. But if you get into an area where the way you are doesn't add any benefit, you've lost that value. I get people coming in every day saying, what's the best business to start? Well, you guys can Google 10 best business starts, 20 best business starts, and you'll get a list based on demographics, trending, what the future opportunity is going to be. But if that's not you, you won't be successful. And have you been into businesses where the people are passionate and they know about it and they can explain it and they're really good, and you go into others and they go, I don't know, I really don't know how that works. But this seems like it'd be good for you, you know, because they're in the wrong business. Small business is the pride of America. A lot of push going into small businesses now because small businesses are the ones that's hiring people. Small businesses are the ones that are spending the money in the economy. You look at small businesses, 95% of Volusia County is small businesses. You know, we have International Speedway Corporation. That's a big business. You know, we have, you know, some box stores that are headquartered somewhere else. But we have a few big businesses. Most of them are small. And what's good is they hire the people and they give the advances and they're really, really inclusive. So they're important for the economy. Small business, being in business can be very rewarding. You can make a lot of money owning your own business. It's amazing some of the businesses that you get into their financials, you go, they make what? They have gumball machines and restaurants and they're dropping over $1 million a year in net profit. Who would have thought, right? You can make a lot of money in owning your own business. Long-term security. If you're good, things keep going, you keep a job. Market changes. Guess who's the last person I'm going to lay off at my company? So you can have long-term security because you can be involved and make it happen. Independence. It's great to be your own boss, to do what you want to do. But the reality is, who's really your boss? Customers is one. Who else? The employees. Really, you're only as good as the customers are coming in, you know, so you've got to do what they want. You go, oh, my son's got a soccer game at 3 o'clock. I'll catch you tomorrow. They're going, no, you're going to fix it today. I'm calling somebody else. Whoa. Yeah. So you're really not independent, but you do get to decide what is your vision, what is your mission, what are your core values, what's your business going to be about. You are the one that makes that decision. Recognition. People admire people that are in business. I mean, oh, I have my own company, I have this. You know, you sit there and go, wow, that's pretty cool. They have their own company. Why? Because only 5% are in business. 95% of the people will never take the risk to be in a business. Satisfaction. Boy, does it make you feel good. The one thing about business that always drove me is the bear at the door. You know that you've got to pay bills. You know you've got to pay payroll. You know you've got all of this stuff. You better get that account. You better get that business. You better, you know, do these things. You've got that pressure on you. And when it all comes together and it works, it feels good. You're really satisfied. Imagine if you're a builder and you say, I built that house. I built that house. I built that house. SBDC counselor, I work with that company. I work with that company. So it's very satisfying being in business. It's a lot easier to be in business today than it used to be. And a lot of people think because of these reasons, it's really easy to start a business. And it is easy to start a business. Keeping it going is not necessarily so easy. But it's easy because advanced technology, like I talked about, that place that was able to set up registration, payment, everything done online. That's a lot easier. You're sitting out there with a client. You can pick up orders. You can deal with people. You can set calendars. You can do all sorts of powerful things right here. If the client asks about something, or you don't know how to fix a certain thing on a machine, you can pull up a YouTube video and see how to do it and you can get it done. So technology has really helped. Corporate subcontracting. You don't have to do it all anymore. Like one of the things I recommend you don't do in business in the beginning is payroll. Payroll is a pain in the neck. A lot of banks will do payroll for you. There's Paycheck, there's ADP, there's all sorts of payroll services. It's real easy to let them take care of all the payroll taxes. And, I mean, that's an area you mess up and you're in trouble. So you've got to do that right. So you can subcontract out. I can even have an accounting office pay all my bills. Receive all the bills, pay all the bills. I don't have to do that. There's ways to get other people to do things that it's not worth it for you to do. I will pay somebody $20 to change the oil in my car before I will. You know, it'll take me 4 hours. I'm going to probably mess it up too, you know, and mess everything else up, you know, and it costs me a lot more than $20. Market information, powerful. The better information you have, the better decisions you'll make. So you are able to, using the internet, you can find out how much business your competitors are doing, how much business is being done in an area. I didn't go into it, but some of the services we offer at SBDC here, so we can do a demographic analysis. I can tell you how much toothpaste was sold in a 1 mile radius of this room last year. Now, if I was going to open up a toothpaste stand here, would that be good information? I could check out New Smyrna Beach and see how maybe there's more down there. I might want to open up a toothpaste stand down in New Smyrna Beach. So you can get all sorts of marketing. We can do industry analysis, trends, let you know the strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats, industry you're going in. We can do financial. What is good percentage in payroll? What is a good percentage in payroll? Depends on the industry you're in. So you want to look at it and see, are you reasonable? So what can you expect? E-commerce and internet, still grossly underused. When you see businesses with capacity, you see restaurants with empty seats, you see hairdressers with empty chairs. There's no reason for that with the capacity we have right now. You could get out promotions and things to people. If I see that I have someone, cruises are doing it, aren't they? They're getting all these people signed up that like to cruise. They say, we got a special coming up on this cruise because they got an empty cabin. Their overhead and costs are going to be the same whether there's someone in that cabin or not. Maybe a little bit of variable expense related to the food, but a lot of the other expenses, you want it filled. You want your capacity. Very powerful. Complicated, but there's a lot of resources available for you to help you be good at that. This can be deceptive because 25% of the businesses fail in the first year. 25%, 1 out of 4. We have a whole, do you need a packet or anything? You got, okay. 1 out of 4, that's, I don't want to be that one. 50% close, they get started. Half of them are going to go out of business. Variety of reasons. Now we say close, we don't know why they closed. Maybe their relatives got sick up north and they had to go up there and take care of their family. They had no choice but to close their business. They may have been very successful. 40% operate marginally. Marginally, I mean, have you ever lived paycheck to paycheck? You got to get your paycheck to pay your bills. You know, in business, that's marginal. When your customer has to pay you, so you can pay your vendor or your employees and stuff like that, and you're just right there, the market changes, revenue drops. Oops! You better react very quickly. You better lay off people, reduce expenses, appropriate with the drop in revenue. That's operating margin with margin. Only 10%. Only, what do we have? Let's say 15,000 businesses in Volusia County. Only 1,500 are what we would call truly successful. Truly successful means that they build up a reserve, they have sustainability, they're, have a strategic plan, and we're going to go into what makes them that. But these are tough statistics. Now, I work with 2 kinds of clients. One kind of client is really good at managing systems. You give them systems, good systems, and he and I the same system, and he's doing twice as good as me because he's a better manager of the systems than I am. So those people, I recommend that you look at franchises. Franchises already have proven systems, they have track records, and there's a process to protect you if you invest in franchising so that you're not risking as much. The other group that I work with are what's called entrepreneurs. Entrepreneurs want to do it their way. They want to come up with ideas, they want to put it together, and they're going to do it that way. So if you're an entrepreneur, don't buy McDonald's and decide hot dogs would be a good product. They're not going to let you do it. Or I'm going to paint my store this color. No, you're not. I'm going to start doing free. No, you're not. You're going to do exactly what we do, and this is the system. So you have to ask yourself, which is better for me? Because what we're going to talk about, and a lot what you do with SCORE at SBDC, is work on your systems as an entrepreneur. The franchises will give you systems. And there's 2 franchise organizations that serve this area that I'm familiar with. One is called FranNet, F-R-A-N-N-E-T. I recommend, if you're interested in getting business, yours is a little bit too unique. I mean, you're dedicated, you're going into that business, you're not thinking something else. But they'll do a personal analysis of you and to show you, they're a broker. Here's the business that would relate to you, that you may be interested in. Doesn't cost you a dime unless you buy one. And the way they make their money is selling that franchise to you, having you buy that. But it's a good way to get an assessment of what's your strengths, your weakness, what's interest, what should you be in, and to get that information. I even, we have different ways of ethically doing business. I'm very much of a guerrilla marketer and a espionage type guy. I would get the whole prospectus of the businesses I was going into from a franchise. I would analyze everything from it and steal all the ideas I could and then do it the way I wanted to do it anyway. But that's just me. I'm not telling you to do that. The other one is Mike Ferrano. He gave the program last month, and I have his flyer up there. Bill can tell you more about how to connect with him. Investigate before you invest. It's better to spend a little bit of time and lose some time than to lose money. Unless you got plenty. You got plenty, then don't worry about it. Okay. Here's why they fail, specifically they say, is that the people lack experience in that business. I like eating food, I'm going to open up a restaurant. I should be really successful because I really love to eat food, and I've eaten in a lot of restaurants. How hard can it be? Well, if you don't know who to buy from, when to buy from them, what to pay them, how to store it, how to hire people, how to set up, if you don't understand all that in a restaurant, you're in trouble. So you need to get that experience. Now, how can you get it? You may get it by working in some restaurants and looking at their systems, looking at their process. Look who they buy from. Look how much they're paying for. Look what's going on. Get some ideas that you can transfer over to your business. Another way to do that is you can go to another area and talk to someone that is in that business and ask them and get them to show you. That first business that I did, that I ended up 70% of the business, I met a guy at a trade show in that industry because I was at the trade show looking at what their products and services, what's going on in that industry. You should check out trade shows in your industries because you'll get a lot of information. And he agreed to allow me to come up to Richmond, Virginia and spend time with me and show me how he did his operation.